Hi folks, welcome to my Bit Retro Journal. Today I'm going to show you something that I've had for a while and I haven't had a chance to put on my in my journal entry yet. So many of you have heard of the Spectrum Next, and some of you probably bought one and are very excited about that machine because it gives you sort of a super powerful Spectrum computer. Actually, you can have other cores in there as well, but and there's even talk about having a QL core in there, but mostly it's for the Spectrum. Well, the QL actually has its own version of that, and that is called the Q68, which is right here. It's also an FPGA based board. It's smaller than the Spectrum Next, and I think the first generation Kickstarter you could actually only get the board and not the case. Of course, with the Spectrum Next, the whole thing is with the case because the keyboard was designed by Rick Dickinson. Oh, the case was. It's got a beautiful keyboard, and so it has sort of that authentic Sinclair feel to it. Now, you can actually buy this with a case, but it's just a metal box that goes around it, and it has plates on both sides, but doesn't really do the QL or the Sinclair Research cases justice. Like I have, for instance, right, the ZX81, and you know, I could actually put it inside, but that wouldn't be. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I do have an idea for a case design for the Q68, and actually it follows this color motif. And if you've watched the, or if you've seen the book Delete by Paul Atkinson, it's a computer vaporware design history or something. I forget what the subtitle of it is, but it's called Delete. On the cover of it, it has a prototype QL on it that is basically this keyboard, but only this keyboard. It's very narrow and it's also not very high. And then where the mica drives are, it has this round wafer with a red top, and it's actually, because they're also working on wafer scale stuff, which was supposed to be this solid state disk mechanism that's sort of a precursor to SD cards. It was kind of a cool idea because they were trying to do it cheaply so that they didn't have to worry about figuring out which chips were good. They were just going to have all the chips etched on a silicon and then have an algorithm that goes through and finds the best one. So Sinclair actually had some cool ideas. But anyways, I was thinking of creating that for the case for the Q68 and have that sit in the wafer end of it, and then get one of those gaming 60% keyboards that literally is only about this wide, and then have a case where you can pop the keyboard in. The keyboard in, it's the Q68 sitting on this side with the two drives, and in the back it has all the connectors. I'd have to figure out how to deal with the power, although I think there's a header here you could power it from the other side. And yeah, you could take the case off to see what's in there, close it up if you wanted to, and then you could take the keyboard out or move the whole unit. So I think that would, and some of those 60% keyboards actually look really nice, and they're in all black, and they're just that same size. So I'm going to explore that in a future video. I think I'll create a mock-up out of cardboard, see how it looks, and then create a prototype, maybe using wood, which is a pretty easy substance to deal with. And actually back in the 80s they did a lot of prototypes in wood. Paint that, see how it looks, and then maybe do molds. I don't think 3D printing is the way to go, because the 3D printers just don't look as nice as molds do. So that's all future, maybe summer videos. I'm not going to talk about this today with the Q68, but man, if I do that, I think the Q68 in its case would rival that of the Spectrum Next, and it would sort of, you know, pay homage to Rick Dickinson, because that was one of his real designs. Again, check out the Delete by Paul Atkinson. I think it's a history of computer vaporware, if I'm paraphrasing. I just don't have the book with me right now. But today I just wanted to actually showcase the Q68, because it's actually this really cool computer. I think it's about 28 times faster than the QL, and is a FPGA implementation of it. And I think you can run some of the old ROMs on there, but SMSQ is the new rewrite. It's a rewrite of the QL operating system, the QDOS, that actually comes with it. So it has, if you take a look at it, it has two SD card drives, just like the QL has two micro drives. It's got VGA, and gives you a nice picture. It's got a serial port. It actually has an Ethernet port, although right now there's no software that actually can give you the Ethernet connection. It's got a Ps2 port, a couple of lights. It's got a header here where you can do stuff with power. The one negative, and the Spectrum Next has this as well, is that it has a Ps2 port. And I recently bought one of these trip-light connectors that gives you USB to PS2. And these are active. These aren't the little dongles that expect the keyboard to be able to do it. So these will take any old USB, even that ones that don't know about PS2, and give you PS2. I've tested it and it works really well. Triplight is sort of a new brand for this. I mean, Triplight does power supplies, but they just recently, I think, came out with this, and you can get these for relatively inexpensive, for under $100, like $95. The other one was called Black Box, and I actually bought a cheap Black Box for this. And it didn't work because it did a lot of keyboard bouncing, and so it would just freeze up the Q68. This one works perfectly, and I actually got this on eBay for $30. I got the black box one for $20, so I'll probably put it back on eBay because it actually works for other computers. But the Q68 wanted the exact protocol. I think other machines. I tried the black box one out on a PC, and it worked perfectly fine, But the Q68 is expecting appropriate behavior, and I talked to the creator of the Q68, and they debugged it. I sent him one spare one, the black box one, and he debugged it and said that the black box one wasn't following the right protocols, and so it was adding noise to the line that was causing that. And they do have an FPGA update if you own one of those old black boxes, but I'd have to send mine back. These are made in the UK. I'd have to send this back to the UK, get it reprogrammed, and it just was cheaper to buy a $30 one that actually works. And this works nice. So in my case design, I would actually probably take this out of the box. It's got screws in the back, and somehow mount it on the inside with the Q68 case. In my idea of a case. But anyway, so this works really well. So this has a single PS2 port, and also has one of these splitters that takes a PS2 port that can handle both keyboard and mouse, and gives you both keyboard and mouse. I think the Spectrum Next has the same deal. And so so all you have to do basically is you hook keyboard to keyboard and mouse to mouse, and this works really well. I've even hooked together for instance, my Apple keyboard, which you can see part of it right here, has a mouse that's actually connected to it. If I hook that up to one of these ports, it can see both both mouse and keyboard, even though the mouse is hooked through the keyboard. So you could hook two keyboards up with two mice if you had that, or you can probably use a USB hub, and it would also work if it's not powered. So this is pretty well implemented. I'm really happy with it, and it works really well. And so now you can use any old USB mouse. And again, used for $30 is pretty inexpensive, and you can get, like I said, you get a new for about $95. Okay, so but what I want to show you today is just how this thing works and how it compares to the QL. It's about 28 times faster, and you can see I have Quill on my QL running. And I just wanted to have this compared to I'm going to leave this running because I can switch to the VGA port when I plug this in and just show you how it compares to that. So let me, I'm going to move the camera to adjust it to be right in front of the monitor so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'll showcase you a little bit the Q68, which is sort of the QL Next equivalent without the case. All right, here we go. All right, so I still have the QL plugged in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the monitor to VGA mode. All right, so that's going to put it in VGA mode, which is not going to give it a signal. And so now I'm just going to plug the Q68 in, and you can see it's going to give a really beautiful picture. Yeah, that's nice. So it gives you the monitor mode on the Q68. What I need to do now is plug in a keyboard, and I'm actually going to take my my Macintosh's keyboard and unplug it and plug it into the Q68. So let me do that. And again, this is going to use a Mac mouse and a keyboard all connected already. And so let me just plug it in. So if I do a directory listing, dir win1 is, so the you can assign Winchester drives using there's a WinDrive command. So Win1 is the default, and it comes with a ton of software. Some of it is nice. Again, it has that QL interface, obviously, so let me just show you some. Again, let's go through this again. I think there's QIs, that was a fun one. So so it does have, so SMSQ gives you directories. So that's what the little arrows means. Oh, you got to go dir win1 QIs. Dir win1 QEYES. There it is. All right, and then it has up arrow too, which is really nice. Like I said, it's becoming more and more Unix-like with the later versions. I'll do the last one because it's the best of the bunch. Misspelled it again. Dir win. Oh, it's just V2. V2. There it is, and then it's QIs. Yep, and then if I use exec on that, there they are, look at that. And I can use my mouse, and it follows my mouse around. So the mouse is working on the on my Mac keyboard, and again, I'm only connecting one USB to this triplet hub converter. And notice that if I do Control C, it actually disappears, but it's still there. So at this time, it's trying to protect the window as well. So it's doing a little bit more than it did before. And again, I can use the jobs command and rjob 1,0,0. Now it's gone. All right, win1. Let's see what else it has. I did think I saw. I saw Psion. Dir win1 Psion. Here it is. And if I go dir win1, I guess next use up arrow. Quill, that's the editor. And then if I just run Quill. So the directory structure isn't perfected in, you still give full path names each time, but at least it lets you, so if I run Quill, you'll see that, here it is, it runs and starts up. It's got a nice, yeah, there it is, the editor. And I can go, if I do F, font face, F4, okay, I want, oh, high script, there it is, and then I say H, and it brings it in the top. F4, and I can H again do normal, E, low, L, normal, L, high. Oh, there we go. So we got a little bit of a curvature to hello. So we can do types. Some fonts, not very many, typefaces, not very many, but it's, you know, it's pretty cool. I'm going to showcase this editor in a future video to hook it to a printer and show you how it actually runs. This is part of the Brother EP22 series. So, but I wanted to show you the Q68 first. What I really want to show you is I'm going to change the and show you the QL version. You can see that it's basically the same version. The screen real estate is a little smaller, and the image isn't quite as good because it's actually pretty good considering it's composite. But I can do the same thing here. F4 H F4 H E F4 low script L F4 normal script L F4 high script O. And so you have the same, it's a little slower of course, but it's the same editor. It's, you yeah, pretty cool. And let's go back to the Q68. And the Q68 is cheaper than the Spectrum Next. You can get them for about, was it $180 that I paid for it? You have to, of course, get it from the UK, and there's shipping involved. But they did a pretty nice job of giving you a pretty nice shipping cost. So it was pretty good deal. So again, the colors here are better because it's VGA. Now there is a VGA adapter for the QL that was recently made, where you can get a picture just as good a quality as this. So let me get out of this. So it's F3. Back here. All right, what else do we have? So that was Psion. So I do have. Oh, do I still have this on here? So DIR ZX. Oh, it's empty. Yeah. I think what I did is I moved it to, so I can do a new drive. So I can say Win Drive 2 card 1, which is the first card, and then give it, I think I called it data. And now Win 2 will have my data drive. Oh, I missed, right, so it's data.win. Oops. The keyboard remaps the at and the two and the double quotes. That's why I'm struggling with that. dir win 2, there it is. dir win 2 ZXSim, and I can run my simulator win2 ZXSim ZX, and it runs a lot faster. So load. Win2 ZXSim banner bass, and you will see that there is no comparison. So yeah, this is definitely running faster than the ZX simulator usually does. In fact, it makes playing the some of the games unplayable because it's really fast. Certainly, load Win2 ZXSim Minds QL. This is Bodhi Wenzel's Minds program. But this one, yeah, look at that. The percentage is actually flying through here now. And it's going to create the board here in a second. So yeah, this is definitely running many, many times faster than the ZX81. And then you can go, oh, come on, clear out the, there we go. So you can see that does a pretty good job. There we go. That's nice and fast. So again, I think it's about 28 times faster is what I read than the QL. So definitely makes some of the ZX81 games in the ZX simulator run so much faster. It's kind of nice. But some of them, again, I in this version, in the latest instance, I have not added any slowdown code so that it runs real time. It really, right now, ZX simulator is reliant on the QL being an actual original QL. So let me Control S that, and you'll see when I load Win2 ZX Sim Elite. This game now is unplayable. It looks cool. I mean, it's unplayable because it was designed for the slow play. But you'll see that if I go fire, left, right, up, down. I mean, it's becoming much more arcade-like. The only problem is, yeah, so now you actually have a real, only problem is you're going to run out of ammo, because I need to give myself more than 15 rounds of ammo, because you're going to waste a lot of ammo because it's more of a shoot 'em up game. But as far as gameplay goes, it's gorgeous. So yeah, I like that. The last one I'll load and then I'll move on. The last thing I want to show off in this is actually there's more to the Q68 than an SMSQ than what I'm showing you, and I want to show you that because there have been progress made on the QL from 1983's operating system and its capabilities. And so this is my ball program, and you can see it's like boom, yeah. Again, if you watch my ZX simulator video, which is one of the earlier ones, it does not run that fast. It runs really, really, really slow. and yeah, that definitely runs very speedy. So that's fun to see. All right, so let's do. I'm gonna break that out of that. I'm gonna quit. Actually, I'm gonna leave it running. I'll show you how that works. So dir win1. So there's another cool. So this, if I lrun win1 boot, you can see that there is a pointer environment, and people have actually developed it. So here's a. It's called Black Phoenix, and they have several. These are basically sort of configurations of software that people have written to make the QL more Windows-like. And so the reason there's a white window up there is because that's actually the. Can I get to it? No, right now it's doing some sort of I/O-based stuff. So people have put together these packages, and Black Phoenix is one of them that takes all of the modern ones, the desktop toolbars, and other things. The only thing that just lacks a bit is consistency with the user interface. So Photon is a program that puts an image in the background, I think. And here we go. Isn't that beautiful? And yeah, so we've got the butterfly. So this is a command shell window that exists. It's going to close itself here in a second. And we have a mouse. Here we go. And it's right now loading things up. I think this window is going to close. There we go. And here we are. And I think the ZX Simulator is going to come back up. But yeah, so you've got a nice mouse Windows controlled environment, better than ICE that I used on the 1984 computer. So if I go here, you can see that yeah, so mine is still, so if I can bring this up front, pick, there we go, escape and close, and there's my ZX Simulator. Oops, sorry, typed the wrong. Oh wow, it definitely, so interesting that the keys have been remapped. So it actually is not getting the appropriate key input because I'm typing letters and it's just giving me, it gives question marks when it, maybe it's up, I shouldn't have, well, I can list that, but I can't do anything with it, unfortunately. So again, something incompatible with the, so can I get back in here? And I can certainly kill it. Remove job, there we go, it's gone. Yeah, so it has a menu where you can go do also, there's games and everything. You can get to it through this menu item, but there's also so if I hit click system, this is going to open up this basically console window. Oops, sorry, hit the wrong key here. Here we go. It's right button versus left button is what I'm dealing with. But now it puts icons on the bottom, and yeah, so you've got stuff here, programs, games. Yeah, it says you can actually get higher resolution than this, and there's something you have to do in the configuration. You got minefield. So here's a real minefield. Cannot read configuration file. Use default. Okay. Yeah, and here's your minefield game. Oh yeah, the way you move it is you click on this and then you move the image and it redraws itself. So you can go boom. Yeah, so it's a little better than the ZX81 version that I've implemented, but kind of follows a natural. But yeah, it's got some cool stuff in here, and so again, the QL definitely has continued on, and the Q68 is certainly that continuation on. Again, there's the SMSQ is actually developed for the Q68 because, you know, that people have been using emulators on fast machines, so you can actually run the QL much faster on a Raspberry Pi. But if you appreciate authentic hardware, then oops, no, I don't want that. I want the. Then you appreciate, you know, if you like running authentic hardware, then I didn't want to click the wrong button. So this Macintosh mouse has two left and right buttons, but they're not distinct. It's just one big button that you have to either go to the right or the left. It's much harder to do. So as I said, some of these things, like for instance, if I go here, they have different meanings for different windows. So I can let me click yeah. So let me close that. There we go. It's got other games. Yeah, so you do that to close. So things work differently depending on what you have. Office Suite. There's also so this have this paragraph program, and I think if you're in the wrong resolution, it looks horrible. So if I double click on that, yeah, and it even talks about resolution, so you can't hardly see this. So there's something wrong with the installation, so you have to quit that quit program. But you can get a fix things by getting the as I said, this interface isn't as seamless as you might find, especially on the Mac, even the Amiga, because it's a collection of utilities that have been put together. And you'll find that some just work differently. Like this one uses the escape to close. Others have an actual X to close. So that's different. But it shows you the potential of the what the QL can do, and has a nice background picture. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to show you guys today. The Q68, a computer, I think it came out in 2018, the same time that the Spectrum was sort of being produced. And pretty cool that you can also get to games here. Pretty cool what it can do. Yes, you have all this stuff. I don't know what Jules was. Oh yeah, I saw this game, but I couldn't figure out how to play it. I didn't see like supposedly you can get a hint and then it says do that, but I have no idea. Like every time I move it, it just moves back. So there's some legal moves I guess you can do, but it's nice and graphical. But the Q68 also obviously gives you more colors than the original QL. So dear sirs, I quit sincerely. So obviously everyone has their own uniquenesses of how they're dealing with interfaces. I kind of like that. It's a little different. The date hasn't been set, so but anyway, so yeah, this is the Q68, and it's something that you can get. It's not mass produced, so if you go to the QL forum, there's a Q68 order thread, and if you ask there, you'll be put in a queue for a new one to be made. It's not very expensive, and like I said, I'm working on a case where you can use off-the-shelf stuff to create the original Rick Dickinson QL. I think it was called the QL Plus case that had the wafer drives, and I think red and black actually go pretty well together. And that's something I'll work over the summer, and maybe I'll create a mold for it, and so we'll have actual plastic molds that we can do that with. So we can move the QL into the future, but you know, there's obviously accelerated cards for the QL, a gold card, gold bar plus, but this, as far as hardware, this Q68 is the fastest piece of hardware for the QL out there today. And I forget how much memory it has, 2 or 4 megabytes. So it's pretty cool. It's nice and small and versatile, and you know, kind of mimics what the Spectrum Next does. Anyway, I'll end there today. Thanks for joining me, and stay safe, and I hope to see you soon.